If you follow Veterans One in our last episodes, you would know we are really passionate about VA homeownership, and we love finding experts that are really passionate about it as well. And today I have a great guest for you, also a friend of mine, Christopher Paul with Keller Williams. It is great to have you on the show.
Thanks, Amy. Great to be here.
This is just fun for me. Yeah, and I'm glad our audience gets to share and enjoy as well. I know you're passionate about VA homeownership, but you also are a veteran. So I want to touch base first on your background and your history in that.
Oh, great. Well, you know, like so many guys that I knew in the military, I was a country boy, small guy from a farm up in Northern California, town of about 1,200 people, and my thing was hunting and fishing, and I was an outdoorsman. So I went into the Marine Corps, and it was a natural for me. Not that it wasn't hard for me, but I think I struggled less than others. I loved being in the field. I was a field Marine, so I was in the field a lot. I was a radio operator and a forward observer. So attached to we'd get attached to infantry units. So we were out there pounding the ground, and in the unit I was in, I had the good fortune of being one of the ones that got to do. You know, sometimes it was an elite unit that we'd be attached to, so we had to be able to keep up with them. So it meant going to airborne school and training in the little rubber boats and all that kind of stuff. And
all the skill sets you didn't know were going to come in handy later, right?
So it was fun. So I enjoyed it. I enjoyed my time in the Marine Corps, and you know, when I got out, I was ready to get out, but you know what, I miss it. There's times when I just, you know, I treasure those times and many good memories then. And,
was it the work, the brotherhood, both? Which part do you miss the most?
Yeah, I stay in touch with some of those guys still, and there's a part of it that just, it changes. There's a saying in the Marine Corps, once a Marine, always a Marine.
Right.
And it's very true. There's a brotherhood. I meet another Marine from even another era, like a gentleman I met who was one of the old China Marines from a long time ago, and there's just connection there when you wear the Eagle Globe and Anchor, which is great. So I treasure it always.
That's awesome. So you went from being a Marine, and now you have a super successful real estate business. I mean, you're very well known and respected. Talk about that transition a little bit.
Good. Well, you know, real estate for me was a career that I went into sideways. I wasn't planning on that originally. I was in education, so I was a teacher and a professor, and was dabbling in real estate and doing some investment properties, and found myself just getting kind of pulled into it, and eventually got my license and said, let's just give it a go. Let's see how I do on it. I'll give myself a year. And in my first year, I was my first office I was at, I was number 4 in an office of 87 agents within 6 months. So I thought, I think I'm going to survive. I think I can.
You're like, I can do this.
I can make a go at this. And so, so I did. You know, I did better after that as well too. And I'm in my 15th year in the business now.
Well, congratulations on that. I know you have clients of all different move-up buyers, move-down buyers, first-time buyers. You know, all of it. But let's talk about your VA buyers and kind of that special relationship, especially with you being a veteran yourself.
Yeah, that's great. You know, one of my things that I've noticed is that a lot of people just on the surface they're quick to advocate for veterans and say they love veterans, working with veterans, but then when it comes down to it, there are subtle ways in which we're not, you know, representing our veterans as well as possible. So, for instance, participation in the that veterans benefit of using a VA loan is actually, in my opinion, lower than it should be. I find a surprising number of veterans who found themselves kind of cajoled into using a lesser loan product than they could have gotten, and a you know, a less advantageous situation. So I find that unfortunate. So when I get my veteran buyers, I'm an advocate for them. I said, look, there shouldn't be any reason that you can't use this benefit to purchase your home and basically experience the American dream through it.
No, you hit it head on. Even my father's an Air Force veteran and was never even given the option of a VA loan all those years. He just used a VA loan for the first time in the last 10 years. And he was like, well, no, you do a conventional loan. And so there was just something different. It wasn't promoted and talked about, and it was a privilege. He didn't understand that. I don't think that had ever been explained to him. And so now he's thrilled with the product he's in and what happened. And so I use that as a great testimony. I know you happen to have a great story of something that maybe happened recently with one of your VA buyers. Right,
it was actually a seller. So it was a gentleman who was a seller. So it started off as a as a seller lead, and the inquiry came in, and it was the trustee of the estate and the owner of the property. He said, I have power of attorney and the trustee of the estate, and he is in the advanced stages of a degenerative disease, and he's bedridden and unable to speak. So he's there, but would like you to go and take a look at the house and see the house, and let's, tell me what you think. So out-of-state gentleman that I was working with there, but while I was at the property, I noticed in the closet, I saw his old helmet, and I saw some trinkets that were some artifacts from the Vietnam War. Wow. And so I knew we had a veteran there. I learned from his caretaker that he was an Army veteran. So went back to that meeting, and I said, so I've got a question. We went through the whole thing, and we kind of ended on this. I said, ultimately, my goal here is it's not about selling a house. It's about the best outcome for John. But I've got to know the story about how you're on the other side of the country with him, and you gentlemen are older. How long have you known each other? He said, all of 74 years. And I said, I have to tell me the story. So these two guys met in preschool. Age 4, they met and became fast friends. They went into kindergarten together, went through kindergarten, through all of elementary school together, same class, same grade, all the way through junior high, high school. They went off to the University of Alabama together. They joined the Army together. Wow. And were commissioned together, went off to Vietnam together and served in Vietnam, and then came back, and their careers took them to opposite coasts at that point, so the one here and the other on the other side of the country. But they remained absolutely inseparable, and it came down to where this gentleman was the only really survivor, and he was incapable of caring for himself. His literally brother, it's this bond of brotherhood of all these years was there. What a great story that you don't always get, and it's about asking, and sometimes it's about revealing the stories. I have another one where we was meeting with the homeowner, talking a little bit about just his time in the service. He'd served in Korea. He said, I have something I want to show you. And went back, brought out his helmet from the war. It was the old steel helmets with the helmet liners on it. And it had a bullet hole in the forehead of this helmet. And it had an exit in the back of it. So this bullet from a Chinese round went in, up and around the helmet liner, and exited out the back. And not everyone got to hear that story, but I had the privilege of hearing that story. So it's over and over. So there's something a little bit more to helping those who have been willing to just sacrifice everything. There's a saying that some gave all, but all gave some. Yes. And those that have given some, they're quick to dispense the glory to elsewhere. I like so many guys did so much more than me when I was in, and but it's still nice to recognize those who at least were willing, who stood up and answered the call when their country called. So.
And we love honoring and supporting that here at Veterans One, and especially bringing in great, passionate business resources and professionals like you. We ask that our viewers could reach you if they have questions about VA purchase and the VA home ownership. Clearly, you can relate and identify and bond with your fellow brothers or sisters that have these questions about VA home ownership, and we just love having you as a resource. How can we reach you?
My cell phone, you're welcome to reach me directly. Call or text me, 760-975-1002. Email at cpaulrealtor@gmail.com, and it'll be me you get. It's not necessarily a staff member. It's me. I'll contact you directly, and
one veteran at a time. Let's make a difference.
Your story and see how we can help.
I love it, Christopher. Such an inspiration. Thanks for all the great work that you're doing out there.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Remember that VA homeownership is so important, and it's so great when we can share that information and empower and encourage others to be a homeowner and have a part of that American dream. Thanks for watching Veterans One. We'll be right back.